Good day, friends. I'm Kerry Dillinger. This is Bible Class Topics, and we're sharing another article that I took from an old church bulletin that I had on hand here at the house. This one is entitled, "Is the Holy Bible Our Only Creed?" It was written by Robert F. Turner and published by him sometime, I think, back in the 1960s originally. Is the Holy Bible our only creed, or is our mind bound to a man-made creed? That's our question we want to talk about today, and we'll be speaking the words of Brother Turner today. By some strange travesty, those who cry loudest for liberty are often the ones who mean liberty for their opinions only. And non-sectarian or non-denominational preachers have a way of becoming the most creed-bound of all. The absence of an official written discipline will not guarantee an open pulpit. What is a creed? Well, the word comes from the Latin credo, meaning I believe. Many creeds of today retain the form of the so-called Apostles' Creed, each article beginning with I believe. They are concise statements of belief or doctrine that identify the position of the maker. Perhaps the first creeds were formulated to combat what was believed to be error, to state with clarity some matter being questioned, or simply an unashamed affirmation of principles upon which certain ones stood. Today, many of my brethren write little creeds in tract form to show what we believe, or as clauses in deeds to church property to keep a church building in the hands of the men who gave the same I believe as the original owners. This seldom works because of the failure to apply yesterday's principles to tomorrow's problems. Are such creeds wrong? Well, not necessarily. After all, we do believe certain things, whether we write them down or not. But should we claim to state that which must be believed? Anything less than God's Word, then, is too little. We haven't stated enough. Anything more than God's Word is too much. We've gone beyond His holy precepts. And of course, anything different from God's Word is condemned by this fact. Namely, it's different from God's Word. A Christian's creed may be stated as his confession that Jesus Christ is Lord, which recognizes the Son of God as having all authority and accepts everything taught in His covenant. We believe, accept, and practice, recognizing as a basis of fellowship with Christ and Christians only those things which may be proven to be by His authority, following in His footsteps, after His Word. The error of man-written creeds, as we might call them, or man-made creeds, is that one, man's presumption to shorten, lengthen, alter, or better arrange God's revelation of truth. What about that? Presuming that God wrote too much, so we shorten it. God didn't write enough, so we'll talk more about it. God wrote it in a strange way, so we'll fix it. That's one error of man-written creeds. And the second is the setting up and acceptance of some man's I believe as our standard of right and wrong. Creed-bound minds, or minds tied to one's own or some other's I believe, and are no longer free to approach God's Word objectively. These people aren't. How are they going to approach God objectively if they bound themselves to somebody else's I believe, or even their own I believe, separate and apart from God's Word? They can't approach God's Word objectively anymore. And they won't be changed. They won't be changed by God's Word, even though it is the unchanging divine standard. Creeds and sectarianism have moved hand in hand throughout history. Certain beliefs are accepted as orthodox and become the standards for determining fellowship. Tradition, majority rule, big churches, articles such as even this article that I'm reading to you today, preachers, teachers, and the such like take the place of God's word, and all who object must be marked and ostracized. Romans 16:17 says, watch out for those, Paul said. Who are we watching out for? Those who cause divisions and create obstacles contrary to the doctrine that you have been taught. Avoid them. What doctrine is Paul talking about? He's talking about the gospel of Christ. Watch out for those who cause divisions and create obstacles contrary to the gospel of Christ. That doctrine that you've been taught. Avoid these people. However, these people that are creed-bound seem to think that Romans 16:17 actually reads, mark them which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine of our party and our traditions. This, then, is the definition of sectarianism, whether in or out of the church, and this will eventually send its proponents to hell. But someone asks, should we not believe something, and should we not have firm convictions, wanting others to accept what we believe to be the truth? Well, sure we should. And we may state, even write, what we believe about the matter without being a creed maker or being creed bound. Well, what's the difference? The difference lies in one's attitude toward his beliefs. Have they become his standard, or is he still willing to prove his beliefs by comparing them to God's Word? Do we become angry if someone questions our beliefs? Are we unwilling to discuss them in the light of God's truth? Do we refuse to consider any conclusion other than our own? Are we fair with ourselves in answering these questions? There is one who knows my heart, and there is one who knows your heart. This article was taken from the Bulletin Plain Talk, Volume 3, Number 3, April 1966, written and published by Robert F. Turner. We took a photo from over at Pexels.com showing a man holding the Holy Bible. This photo was taken by Tima Miroshchenko, and you can find his work over at Pexels.com. Please stop by the channel anytime. Thank you for studying with me. This week we've been looking at articles from old church bulletins that I had on hand here at the house. If you're interested in hearing some more of these, let me know. I'll be glad to look through my collection and see what else there is to share. Let's keep each other in our prayers until we meet again. May God bless.